Choosing the wrong university type in Germany could cost you years of your career, and most people have no idea which one is right for them. And many internationals even don't know about all of the types. But for a university degree, you spend several years, so the decision is critical and you should definitely know about the options. Today, I'm breaking down the 4 university types in Germany and their pros and cons. Definitely stay until the end to find out which actually gives you the best career advantage for you. Now, before we dive into the 4 different types of universities in Germany, there's one key distinction you absolutely need to understand: public versus private universities. Now, this isn't actually a university type, rather it's a classification that applies to all 4 categories. So no matter which of the 4 university types you will choose, and I'll just explain them in a second, there will always be both public and private options. And the difference between these two can significantly impact your student experience, costs, and career prospects. So let's break it all down in detail. On the one side, there's public universities, and in Germany they dominate the higher education system. In fact, more than 90% of students in Germany are enrolled in public institutions. These universities are state-funded, which means tuition fees are either non-existent or extremely low, except for some universities who think they are special. But if you're an international student researching universities in Germany, public universities are likely the first option you'll come across. The biggest advantage here? Affordability. If you're from the EU or EEA, you typically won't pay any tuition fees at all. For non-EU students, most public universities are still tuition-free, with one big exception: universities in the state of Baden-Württemberg. Baden-Württemberg, what's up with you? So, if you're planning to study at a place like the University of Stuttgart or Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, expect to pay around 1,500 euros per semester, which is still significantly cheaper than in many other countries. But besides that, no region or university thinks it is special enough to charge any tuition fees. Except for TUM, they charge a lot. But besides that, really no university charges tuition fees. Now, one thing that surprises many international students is how independent studying at a German public university can be. There's much less structure compared to private institutions. In a lot of cases, you won't have fixed class schedules, and no one will remind you of deadlines. Like, literally, you can take classes of other degrees or go to the classes of your last year in the first year, or just no class at all. Like, it's your choice. You're expected to take responsibility for your own studies, which can be challenging at first. On top of that, class sizes can be huge, especially in bachelor's programs. That said, if you can manage the self-discipline, studying at a top public university can give you a solid education without the financial burden. Public universities also tend to be home to some of Germany's most prestigious institutions. If you're looking for a name that carries international weight, you cannot go wrong with places like the Technical University of Munich, LMU Munich, or Heidelberg University. These universities have a strong global ranking and an excellent reputation. However, what some of them sometimes lack are industry relationships, like networking and direct career support. That's where private universities come in. While public universities dominate the larger landscape, private universities offer a different experience. Unlike public institutions, private universities charge tuition fees, and they can be expensive. The cost here can reach 26,000 euros for a bachelor's degree and even up to 40,000 euros for a master's degree, especially if it's some elite business school like the WHU or the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. So, what do you get for the money? First of all, private universities have much smaller class sizes. You'll likely be in a classroom with 20 to 50 people. That means more direct interaction with professors, easier access to academic advisors, and structured learning environment. Private universities often have built-in internships, leadership training, and a strong career placement service. For example, the EBS has an excellent track record of placing graduates in top consulting and finance jobs. Another well-known private university, Code University of Applied Sciences in Berlin, is completely focused on digital innovation and technology, with close ties to startups and tech companies. So if you're someone who values networking, career preparation, and a structured support, and maybe someone who has a lot of money, private universities could be a great fit. Another key advantage is language accessibility. Most public universities in Germany teach their bachelor's programs in German, meaning you would need a B2 level proficiency to even apply. But private universities offer far more English-taught bachelor programs, which can be a game changer if you're not fluent in German yet. And by the way, if you want to learn German, a friend of mine has a very affordable German language course. Click on the link in the video description. That being said, the biggest downside of private universities is recognition. While top-tier private universities have great reputations in their fields, even internationally, A degree from a lesser-known private institution might not carry as much weight as a degree from a prestigious public university. In fields like engineering or medicine, German employers often prefer graduates from well-established public institutions over private ones. However, in business, finance, and certain applied sciences, private universities can offer a better connection and career opportunities. At the end of the day, most students choose public universities because of the affordability and prestige. But private universities can be a great choice if you prioritize hands-on support and career placement, and if you have money. Now that we have covered differences between public and private universities, let's actually move on to the first actual university type in Germany, the Universitäten. These are traditional, research-oriented institutions that focus heavily on academic theory and offer bachelor's, master's, and also PhD programs. If you are an international student looking for a degree that carries global recognition and opens the door to academic or research-based careers, this might be the right choice for you. So, what exactly makes Universitäten different from other types of universities in Germany? Well, let's start with the academic approach. Here, they emphasize deep theoretical knowledge. This means you'll spend a lot of time analyzing concepts, reading, and sometimes writing research papers, and definitely engaging with abstract ideas, rather than immediately applying them to real-world scenarios. For example, let's say you're studying mechanical engineering at the Technical University of Munich. Here, you won't just learn how to design a machine. You'll also deep dive into mathematical models, material science, and thermodynamics theories before you ever touch a prototype. The same applies to other fields. If you're studying medicine, law, or physics, expect to spend the first few years focusing on the foundational principles before moving to hands-on experience. So who should choose a Universität? A Universität is the right choice for you if you enjoy deep academic discussions, independent research, and a structured yet self-driven learning environment. This is especially true if you plan to pursue a PhD, since only traditional universities in Germany have the right to award doctoral degrees. Take, for instance, someone who wants to become a neuroscientist. A Universität will provide research facilities, expert profession, and theoretical foundation needed to understand the human brain at a very fundamental level. After completing a master's degree, you could then move into a PhD program, where you could work in research labs and even contribute to scientific publications. However, this also means that Universität students need to be likely self-disciplined, or you have to learn it. They will just throw you into the cold water and you have to deal with it. Universität students are expected to manage their own schedules and studies. Large lecture halls are common, and it's not unusual for introductory courses to have 300 to 500 students in a single class. You don't have attendance, and there is usually no homework and no midterms until the end of the semester, when you'll have to take just one big exam, which is frightening. This can be overwhelming at first, especially for international students who are used to smaller, more interactive classrooms and a more guided approach. Bachelor's programs at Universitäten typically last 3 or 4 years, depending on the field of study. Some, like medicine or law, follow a completely different system and take 5 to 6 years before you can enter professional practice. Most Universität programs don't include mandatory internships, which means students must take the initiative to gain work experience on their own, either in a semester break or by taking a leave of absence for 1 semester to do an internship. Master's programs are usually 2 years long and often include a strong research component, where students are expected to conduct independent studies, write a thesis, or contribute to academic publications. After a master's, students can choose to pursue a PhD, which can take anywhere from 3 to 4, 5 years and is heavily focused on original research and academic publications. Here you can choose a lot where exactly you want to put your focus on. But one thing that surprises many international students is the teaching style and the student life. In many programs, attendance isn't even mandatory, and students are expected to learn at their own pace. This means that if you're not proactive, it's easy to just fall behind, and this especially happens in the first couple of semesters to the majority of people, because they're just not used to it, me included. Professors at German Universitäten are often researchers first and teachers second, meaning the lectures can sometimes feel a bit impersonal and honestly also sometimes a bit dry, especially if it's very theoretical. That being said, Universitäten provide plenty of opportunities to engage with the academic community. Many programs offer student research projects, academic conferences, and international exchange programs. Germany also has a strong network of research institutes, such as the Max Planck Institute and the Fraunhofer Institutes, where Universität students can collaborate with leading scientists and engineers. Now let's talk about what all of you guys are interested in: career opportunities and the job market. So what happens after graduation? A degree from a top Universität can open doors to some of the best job opportunities in Germany and also internationally. Many of Germany's largest companies like Siemens, BMW, BASF recruit directly from research universities. However, graduates of traditional Universitäten sometimes face a slower entry into the job market. This is because the Universität degrees are less focused on immediate job readiness and more on theoretical knowledge. If you graduate with a degree in philosophy, history, or theoretical physics, you might need to supplement your studies with internships or additional qualifications before entering the workforce. Engineering students, particularly those in mechanical and electrical engineering, often find research and development positions at top companies, but they may need additional work experience to stand out in the job market. However, for research and academic jobs, this university is literally perfect. Now that you understand how Universitäten work, let's move on to the second out of the 4 different types. So the universities of applied sciences, or the Fachhochschulen, are designed for students who prefer a practical, hands-on education rather than the purely theoretical approach of traditional universities. If your goal is to graduate with a job-ready skill, strong industry connections, and real-world experience, then a Fachhochschule might be the perfect choice for you. Unlike traditional universities, which focus a lot on academic research and deep theoretical knowledge, Fachhochschulen are all about applying what you learn, like to real-world situations. This means that instead of spending years studying abstract theories, you'll be working on case studies, hands-on projects, and industry collaborations from the very, very beginning. For example, let's think about mechanical engineering again. Instead of diving deeply into theoretical physics and abstract mathematics, you'll focus on designing, building, and testing machines in the real-world applications. One of the biggest advantages of Fachhochschulen is that they have strong connections to industry, which significantly increases your chances of landing a job right after graduation. Many companies in Germany actually prefer hiring Fachhochschule graduates for roles that require practical skills, because they already have hands-on experience. This is especially true in fields like engineering, IT, business, and design, where companies are looking for graduates who can immediately contribute to real projects, rather than spending additional years training them on practical applications. Fachhochschulen are also structured very differently from Universitäten. At a traditional university, you have a lot of academic freedom and are expected to manage your studies independently. In contrast, Fachhochschulen follow a more structured curriculum with just clear, close schedules, smaller class sizes, and close interaction with professors. The professors at Fachhochschulen typically have years of real industry experience, which means they're not just teaching from textbooks, they've actually worked in the field and can share real-world insights. The Fachhochschule graduates generally have an easier time finding jobs compared to Universität graduates. Many companies actively recruit from Fachhochschulen because they know that these students have already worked in real-world environments. In fact, it's common for students to receive job offers from their internship companies before they even graduate. And a great example for this is, of course, automotive engineering. If you would study this at a Fachhochschule, you'll likely do your praxis semester at companies like BMW or Audi or Volkswagen. During this internship, you'll work with them, and after working there, many students end up receiving full-time job offers from these companies immediately after finishing their studies. That being said, the degrees of Fachhochschulen are sometimes less recognized internationally compared to Universität degrees. However, in Germany and many parts of Europe, Fachhochschulen are highly respected, and employers often prefer these for practical roles. But that being said, those were only 2 out of the 4 types, so you should definitely stay until the end to know actually which one is the right for you. Now, before we get to the last university type, which has probably the fastest pathway to a career, we'll shortly talk about a completely different kind of higher education in Germany, the Academies of Art, Music and Film. These institutions are designed for students who want to pursue a career in the creative industries, whether that's fine arts, music, film, theater, design, or fashion. Unlike traditional universities, where learning is often structured and academic, these academies emphasize creative freedom, artistic expression, and hands-on training in specialized fields. You'll be able to get a lot of cool projects and training because of the direct industry exposure, where you have early access to professional networks. If you're into one of these fields, I would highly recommend you to check them out. But for most of you, this is probably not that relevant, so we're just gonna skip to the last university type, which is something special that actually not many countries have. We're going to talk about one of the most unique university models in Germany before we then compare it all in a nice table that you can screenshot easily. The so-called Duale Hochschulen, or dual universities. These institutions offer a completely different approach to higher education, where students don't just study in a classroom. They also work at a company, gaining real-world experience while earning a salary. If you want a degree that is highly practical, financially stable, and gives you a direct pathway into the job market, then a Duale Hochschule might be the perfect option for you. Let me explain. At a Duale Hochschule, education follows a dual system, meaning students alternate between academic studies at a university and professional training at a company. Instead of spending the entire semester in lectures, students typically follow a 3-month rotation. 3 months at universities, followed by 3 months working at a company. This cycle continues throughout the degree. So by the time you graduate, you will have accumulated, let's say, 2 years maybe already of professional work experience, while also earning your degree at the same time. One of the biggest benefits of studying at a Duale Hochschule is that students earn a salary while studying, because they are employed by a company throughout their degree. They receive a monthly stipend, which typically ranges from 800 euros to like 1,500 euros per month, depending on the industry and of course the company which you choose. This means that students can actually support themselves financially without relying on student loans or part-time jobs. And in many cases, the company can also cover tuition fees, making this one of the most affordable ways to study in Germany. So how do you get into one of these Duale Hochschulen? Unlike traditional universities where you apply directly to the university first, in a dual study program, you must first secure a contract with a company that is partnered up with a university. Only after signing an employment contract with a company can you enroll at the Duale Hochschule. This is a completely different application process from traditional universities, and it means that admission is highly competitive. Not only do you need to meet academic requirements, but you also need to pass job interviews and prove to employers that you are a good fit for their company. Once the company selects you, then you sign an official contract, and only then you can apply to the universities. This means that your place at the university is directly tied to your job from the company. This also means that Duale Hochschulen are highly specialized. They mostly offer degrees in fields where practical experience is essential, such as business, engineering, computer science, and healthcare. You won't find programs in fields like philosophy or history or theoretical physics here. They are meant for students who want to enter the job market immediately after graduation, most likely in the company for which they signed a contract. Which brings us already to the employability, which is a major advantage of this. Studies show that over 90% of dual study graduates receive job offers from their partner companies after graduation. This makes Duale Hochschulen one of the fastest and safest pathways into the job market. Employers value these graduates because they already have 2 to 3 years of work experience, and not just anywhere, but like already know the company's culture and require minimal training because they already know the environment and everything. However, the dual study model also comes with challenges. First, the workload is significantly higher because students are working full-time while also studying full-time. Their schedules are often extremely demanding, often leaving little time for vacations or social life. Unlike students at traditional universities who have a long semester break, dual students typically only get a few weeks of vacation per year. This means that while the financial benefits and job securities are great, students need to be highly disciplined, organized, and prepared for a fast-paced environment. Another challenge is the limited academic flexibility. At a traditional university, students can change majors, take electives, or explore different subjects. But at a Duale Hochschule, students follow a fixed curriculum, which is developed in the partnerships with the employer. There is very little room for switching programs, and in some cases, leaving these programs early could even mean that you would lose both your university place and your job contract. So this path is best suited for students who are 100% sure about their career goals and don't mind committing to a structured, company-driven education for the next couple of years. Despite these challenges, Duale Hochschulen are becoming increasingly popular, especially among companies that want to train their employees from the ground up, basically. Let's take an example from the automotive industry again. Imagine you're, again, a student in a dual study program of mechanical engineering, and your partner company is Audi. During your 3-month university phase, you study vehicle dynamics, material sciences, and manufacturing processes. Then, in your 3-month work phase, you might work on Audi's production plan, assisting engineers in designing new components, and even working on real car prototypes. By the time you graduate, you not only have a bachelor's degree, but also hands-on experience at one of the world's leading car manufacturers. This gives you a huge advantage when applying for a permanent position. Often you won't even need to apply at all, because the company will just offer you a contract directly. So, I hope this was exhaustive. Here's a summary for you to take a screenshot. See you in the next one. Keep growing.